What is up, everyone? This is Omegabalmung here with, of course, another week of comic book pickups. This week I'm a little busy this weekend, so I'm going to pump this video out real quick. I probably won't go through much other than, names of comic books, maybe some of the creators or writers and artists and all this stuff like that. I didn't have a chance to get through all of them, so unfortunately, like I said, I've been rushed to do things. I got a big old fantasy draft going on this weekend, so I have to head out of town or the state. So anyways, let's get started here. First on the list is Death Vigil, issue 2, by written and the artist is Stefan Sejic. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to read through this one. Like I said, I'm pressed for time. I'm trying to rush this one out real quick, so I didn't get a chance to read this one. So next up is Res Sonja, issue 11. Fix this right here. Writer is Gail Simone, and art is by Walter Giovanni. Like I said, this is one of the few I didn't get to read. There's like a few of them. Like these first three are the ones that I didn't really get into it too much, but which means I would have to get back into these three. This would be on my back issues for reading. So next up is Sex Criminals. I forgot to write down who the artists and the writers are, but if you're a big fan of Sex Criminals, which is, I say, a big, I would pick it up. It's freaking awesome. That's all I can say. There is the trade, which is 1 through, was it 4 or 5? Maybe, I think 1 through 3 or 4, which you can pick up, and from there on, it's just freaking awesome. Sex Criminals, issue 7. Next up is Fantastic Four, issue 8, one of the original Sins storylines, I guess. In this one, of course, if you read issue 7, or let's go through some small little things first. Fantastic Four, the writer is James Robinson, and the art is by Leonard Kirk. It pretty much left off from the last issue, which the Thing has killed the Puppet Master, and it just kind of chronicles pretty much every character's what they've been doing during this time. So he gets arrested, Sue and Reed gets kind of taken to this, I don't know what it is, but it looks like some kind of futuristic place. And then Johnny is kind of like, trying to get his life back, but fortunately he can't. He has no powers, he has nothing. And then you also have part of the Future Foundation kids part, and then you also have a little bit of where you see, if you remember, where Sue becomes pretty much enraged and fought against the Avengers. You see a little bit of that, and she pretty much whoops ass. That's all I can say. So awesome read. Original Sin, or I should say, Fantastic Four issue 8, which is part of the Original Sin storyline. So next up is Smallville Chaos issue 1. This one is a pretty cool read. This is actually, of course, the season 11 of Smallville. This one, Superman and Lois gets teleported to a different metropolis. So because of Lex, so it's pretty cool stuff. And there's, you have, of course, the cast is pretty much a lot of the characters from the Smallville show or the books. Now you have Zatanna, you have Booster Gold, you have, of course, Green Arrow, and they're pretty much trying to find where Superman and Lois has gone. So next up is from IDW, Judge Dredd Anderson Side Division. So this one's by Matt Smith, and writer is Matt Smith, art by Carl Critchlow. This is kind of weird because I have never read a Judge Dredd comic book. I have only seen the one movie with Sly in there, so I have no background in this, but this is kind of cool, kind of seeing from someone who doesn't have powers to somebody that has powers. This one, they're kind of like a psychic type of police officers. There's like different groups, I guess. She is part of the psychic group, and and there's one scene where they're in the museum and he gets attacked by this guy who sends off this kinetic pulse and then knocks everybody down, and she's the only one that was able to resisted, or she took a lot of her power to resist it, but she kind of went through that. So it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's kind of cool in the sense that they have powers, but it's kind of weird since, you know, I'm just into that Judge Dredd where he's just a cop, or Dredd where they're just regular cops. But it's cool to see some more. I definitely will pick up issue 2 because I am really interested in this one. So this is, like I said, Judge Dredd Anderson Side Division, and this is issue 1 from IDW. Next up is the Justice League United issue 4. Fortunately, I didn't get to read this one too much. I only read through a little bit of it. It's cool to see a lot of the characters kind of bonding with each other. Now that we're in 4 issues into it, you kind of see them kind of react to each other, talk to each other, and kind of just becoming almost a team now. So, like I said, I only gotten through maybe half of the book. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to it, like I said, in a rush. Next up is The Huntress and Power Girl, World's Finest, 26. This one picks up right after they open up the boom tube, of course, and now they're in their own world. And now it's kind of different. It's been, it's pretty much been run, been taken over. And I don't remember who the girl is in the book, but she gets powers now. She gets pretty much Superman's power, or at least super strength, and all that. So. But anyways, hopefully we get to see more of them fighting, actually, you know, the Earth 2 characters. This one we didn't even get to see. As far as I remember, we didn't get a chance to see any of the Earth 2 characters, or at least other than the Huntress and Power. Next up is Spider-Man 2099. Writer is Peter David and artist by Will Slaney. Fortunately, this comic book to me is not as good as the other 2, which is Amazing and now Amazing and Superior, and we'll probably get to see a little bit more of the Spider-Verse and Ultimate. So it's pretty cool. I mean, to a sense, it's still pretty cool. And this one, I forgot what the Spider-Man Miguel gets pretty much found out that he is Spider-Man, but at the same time he kind of lied about it. There is just pretty much exposition, a lot of talking. We do have a little bit of action scene in the beginning with people robbing the bank. He's just kind of like, oh man, why did I pick this time, and blah 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 and that. So pretty low-key issue, but I mean, hopefully he does pick up. Hopefully we get to see more of him as Spider-Man 2099. Like I said, I haven't seen much of it, or even read a lot of the older Spider-Man 2099 books. I do think his costume is awesome, but like I said, it's kind of a down week for this one. I did like issue 1 though, so hopefully it picks up after this. Okay, next up is Future's End, issue 15. Written by Brian Azzarello, Jeff Lemire, Dan Jurgens, and Keith Giffen. And penciler is Scott Eaton. So, of course, this kind of just picks up between... It just keeps going. The Future's End just keeps going. We get a little bit more insight of, you know, what's going to happen in the future. As like I said, Lois Lane has has given visions. You also have a little bit of Frankenstein and Hawkman, and them kind of stuck in this prison, and they're kind of just talking, and they're like, oh, maybe we kind of messed up. And Frankenstein gets his dream where he's kind of like, oh man, I think we just messed up. And he's like, I usually don't dream, and now I dream, and it's pretty bad. So, pretty cool stuff. Like I said, it gets a little bit better, and then it kind of the Future's End books, they get better, and then they kind of fall off the cliff for a bit, and then you know, a few issues later it gets better and better. So hopefully we get a little bit more. It looks like we're getting a little closer to what we're about to see and what's going to happen in the future. So pretty cool stuff. Next up is a new Suicide Squad issue 2 written by Sean Ryan, artist is Tom Diernick, Mark Irwin, and Norm Rapun. If I said those right, I know I'll probably kill those names, but so far the book itself is kind of that's all I can say. It's the team hopefully they build on the team a bit. But right now they're kind of just it feels like it's the same people back and forth. So hopefully we get to see more of the issue. But like I said, I won't drop it yet. So far it's been mash, but hopefully the next issue will kind of pick up from there. But it's a book that's kind of hard to get into. So like I said, the new Suicide Squad, which is kind of weird. They have weird characters that they put in, like Joker's daughter is kind of similar to Harley. You have Deadshot, which is kind of the same as Deathstroke. So I don't know, it's kind of weird like that. Next up is Captain Marvel issue 6. From Marvel, written by Kelly Sue, the comic, and art by David Lopez. And this one, it pretty much, I think, hopefully, it kind of wraps up the arc that she's in. She kind of battles out between the military, not as the military, but I don't remember what they were, but they were trying to take the planet that she's on, I guess, with the resources they had. So it kind of just finishes that off. So. It's an okay issue. It's okay, but like I say, if you want to read it, I mean, it's still a pretty good. The Captain Marvel series is still pretty awesome. Not as good as Miss Marvel, but that's a whole different story. And I think that comes out next week, right? So I'm excited for that. Next up is Inhuman issue 3. Writer is Charles Soule and art by Joe Madureira. I can't even say his name, but it is freaking awesome. I love his artwork, so that's always a plus to me. This one, you have the Inhumans are pretty much shunned. Like, they have their own little place to go to, and we find out what the cause is going to be, why, and then you do see the Inhumans kind of fight each other here. You have two groups, which is run by Medusa, and another group run by, I don't remember his name, but they're like Medusa's like the higher tier, the up there, while they're kind of like the lower tier Inhumans. And we kind of figure out that they have to kind of band with each other now, since something is going to happen that's going to destroy all the Inhumans. So looks like it's like a truce for now, but it's still interesting. I kind of want to see what it's going to get into. Like I said, the artwork is freaking phenomenal. It's like a little bit of anime-ish with just American artwork, but like I said, I love it. So next up is Dead at 17, Blasphemy Throne issue 1. Art and story by Josh Howard. This one's a little weird. It's kind of low. It starts out. Actually, the whole book itself is kind of slow. You learn who the main character is, and then what happens to her. And she's kind of dead in this world that it says if you're dead, you kind of get placed into the I don't know. It's kind of weird. There's like aliens that if you're dead, then you go up to their ship and they judge you on it, and then if you're good, or if you're not supposed to die yet, they send you back down or something like that. I think that's what's going to happen to her, but it's just weird. It's a weird book. That's all I can say. It's weird. Next up is Superman, Wonder Woman issue 11. Story by Charles Soule, art by Tony Salas, and pretty much it. So, in this book, it's an okay series. I mean, this is pretty much going to be wrapping up to where Superman Doomed is going to fall into. So, if you've been keeping up with a lot of the Superman Doom storylines, this one he kind of in the annual, I think it was the annual Superman Wonder Woman annual 1, where he pretty much rips off the Doomsday inside of him, and now he's back to being normal Superman. In this one, you have pretty much they are the last defense on Earth, the last line of defense. You have Superman, Martian, Cyborg, Batman, of course, Wonder Woman, and then just a few other characters. Now they're like the last defense on line of defense on Earth, and they're pretty much battling it out. And at the end, of course, if you don't really want to know what it is, the spoiler is... Actually, I won't spoil it. I don't want to spoil it, so... anyways, those are all the the books that I picked up, and of course we do have the three books that I really did enjoy from this week. That you guys should probably pick it up. It's freaking awesome. First off is Harley Quinn issue 9. I usually think that Harley Quinn is kind of a weird book. It's a comedy slash action slash whatever. It's and in this issue is pretty funny. So Harley Quinn, let's get that done with. Harley Quinn issue 9. Writer is Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti, and the artist is Paul Timms. And I forgot to write down who the colorists are, but there's a whole bunch of them. The book itself is freaking awesome, and the artist and stuff. So, but this book is pretty funny because she gets kidnapped in this book by a stalker who kidnaps her, and somehow she just frees herself, and because she's a supervillain, and she's asking like, do you have problems? Like, has your parents beat you? He's like, no. Have this happened to you? He's like, no. I'm just a normal guy who, my dad works at Sony for a 9-to-5 job, while this and this, my mom is this, and she's like, oh my gosh, it's kind of weird, and and she escapes from him anyway. So, like I said, freaking awesome book. So far, freaking awesome and funny. So, I'm kind of like in and out I'm kind of in and out on Harley Quinn, and so far this one is pretty cool. Kind of like the other one from about 2 weeks ago, or 2 issues ago, one with the San Diego part where she goes to San Diego, but pretty awesome book. So next up, Original Sin, and writer is Jason Aaron, and artist by Mike Diodato. And of course you have your 7 or 8 part story. It is on the 7th issue, so one more left. This one is freaking awesome. You have, Nick Fury battling against the Avengers. You have pretty much, let's see, Ant-Man, Black Panther, Gamora, and Doctor Strange, and them kind of figuring out what they want to do. That group has their own, they're like, oh man, should we join Nick Fury and fight against Avengers? But at the same time, they don't want to because they'll be on the wrong side of the... and they're kind of like, who's is the person in charge of this? So you see pretty much a big old battle, and you see a little bit of how they got, or what happened to the Watcher, how they got his eyes and things like that. So, like I said, Original Sin is usually really, really good. It's probably, if it comes out, if they have like a whole issue where they just release them all by 1 week, it would probably be in my top 3 all the time. So, but luckily it's only once or twice a month or something like that. So, still pretty good, awesome book. And it's also got the variant edition for that to cover. I think there's 3 of them. But this week I was able to get this one, and the original cover looked pretty cool anyway. So, next up is from Boom Studios, a book called Hex, and it is issue 1, created and written by Michael Allen Nelson, and the artist is Dan Mora. Supposedly there is a Hexed book that came out a few years back. I was kind of like reading the review for this book, and they're like, oh yeah, there's a book that Hex kind of came out about 4 or 5 in a mini-series book about, let's see, in 2008. So, and so far, what I read from it, it's freaking awesome. It's pretty much the main character here. She is, I don't know what she is, a sorcerer, I don't know what she is, but she could summon out different like things. She could go into paintings and go to different parallel universes and things like that. So it's freaking awesome. The artist is, the drawings are freaking awesome too. So I have to give, like I said, always a good thumbs up for the artwork, because I'm a big fan of things that look pretty. So like I said, and she's pretty much, something happens. She goes into this painting to grab this guy, and she releases something in the painting, and now her job is to go back and not go back, but try to stop that. So, pretty awesome book. I totally would actually go pick up the second issue. Hopefully it doesn't come out once a month. Hopefully we see a little bit sooner, so I actually keep the story fresh in my mind. But pretty awesome book from Boom Studios. Hex issue 1. Next up is, of course, the back issues I have. I only have a few, so this week is more about new issues, less about back issues. Like I said, I'm trying to keep my back issues a little bit smaller, but I also want to get a lot of newer issues, so I can talk a bit more about it. First off is from DC Comics, issue 5, which is the Manhunter. And if you remember, or not remember, but it was a few weeks back, or a week and a half back, we heard that I forgot the character of this Manhunter, but he was casted in Arrow. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pick up his first appearance or origin story or something like that. So I decided to pick that up. So next off is Spread from Image Comics. I haven't read through this yet. Like I said, I've been a little bit busy. Of course, this book is kind of blown up, and it's pretty tough to find this issue 1 and issue 2, which is I might have to order that one too, but that's what it is. So Spread issue 1 from Image Comics. Next off is, I decided to go with this weird old book, Godzilla, the King of Monsters, of course, issue 7 from Marvel Comics. And one from last week is called Imperial, from Image, which is an awesome cover. All white with character here. Supposedly it's about this guy. I haven't read this one yet, but I read a little synopsis about it. It's about this guy who's pretty much an ordinary guy, and now he has a role he has to take up, to become a hero, which is the older guy in the background there. Either he chooses to be a hero or he chooses his girlfriend. So, but that's pretty much it for this week. I have, like I said, I'm going to be busy this few weeks, and from now on, I'm going back to school. So now I am super busy, and we'll see what happens with this comic book pickups. I might just get a few books instead of having a whole lot of books. So we'll see what happens. But I'll be busy this weekend, of course. Football's coming soon. I gotta go do my draft. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see everybody next week.